I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up, and I'm here today to share the first of 3 projects that I'm actually doing an in-person class here this next week doing these 3 projects, but I'm going to split them up just so that it's a little more digestible. And I'm also hoping that it's something that you're so interested in that you would love to purchase the items in order to make them, and in doing so be able to receive happy mail from me. So every order of $35 or more, I do have a host code that's going to be attached to this video and live, as well as on my Stampin' Up website, justalittleink.stampinup.net. For you to be able to purchase. And so I'm just going to go ahead and flip over. I'm hoping I'm going to get some people joining in soon, but we don't want to delay, so I'm just going to jump on. So let me flip the camera. And I started all of that. I'm not sure how many people even heard me. So I had my microphone off. So Amy Taylor, Stampin' Up Demonstrator. I'm sharing first of 3 projects. A card and a coordinating gift bag, and it all uses one full sheet of cardstock, which is kind of a great option. It's amazing that you can get both of these from the base from one piece of cardstock. But I'm using the soon to leave us, or at least I'm hoping it's a soon to leave us, or maybe I'm not hoping. I don't know how you would look at that. I love the Changing Leaves bundle. It had been an online exclusive from a while back, and it's one that's on our last chance list, or our last chance category, really, in the online store. And it's a beautiful photopolymer stamp. It's got some great fonts and greetings that go with it. It has a hybrid embossing folder that goes along with it, and I'm not using it as the hybrid portion. The hybrid portion then uses the dies that coordinate with, and those can get sat into here, and then it can cut these embossed leaves out. It's a really cool set. I'm going to use the folder. I'm not using this portion of the dies. I am going to use a couple of the other dies that are available in this, and this is still available as a bundle, but it's actually cheaper if you buy them separately, because the hybrid embossing folder, which comes with the dies, is on the last chance category at, I think it's $14, and the stamp set is available at $10. So it's a really good deal, but it's still 50 something if you buy them as a bundle. So just as a hint, you want to not use them as a bundle. So I'm going to go ahead and show you kind of what I'm doing to cut and all the parts and pieces. And again, any order of $35 or more, I think, did I say 35? I bet you I said more than that, but 35 or more is going to receive happy mail from me if you use the host code. This will be the last host code that I'll be using, because Stampin' Up is actually doing away with those codes here come this next month. So I'm going to put my cardstock in my paper trimmer horizontally. So I've got the 11-inch side up at the top rail, and I'm going to line up the left edge at 5 1/4. And I'm doing that because that's the width of my gift bag. And so then I'm going to cut that off. And then I need another piece that's 5 1/2. So you'll see that it's going to leave just a smidgen beyond here. So I'm going to cut that part off. So leave you a little 1/4-inch strip here. And then I'm going to turn my paper around, because this is going to be for my card. And I'm going to line that up at the 4 1/4-inch mark on the left edge. Get my cutter out of the way, and I'm going to use the light gray, which is going to score. So I'm going to give it a nice score. And then I'm going to be done with my trimmer for now. Turn it over, and I'm just going to set this aside for the moment. We're going to go ahead and work on the bag first. Okay, so I'm using that 5 1/4 by 8 1/2 piece of cardstock. That's going to be for my front of my bag. I'm also using some pieces of Designer Series paper. This is from the Country Woods Designer Series paper. It's been a very, very popular set of papers, but look how nicely it coordinates. And then we're going to use just a strip. This is a 1/2 inch by that 5 1/4 inch of Night of Navy. And so I'm going to kind of show you what I'm going to work on. I'm going to pull out my paper, or excuse me, my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, which you will want the full size of. Let me pull this stuff out of the way. Grab my plates off so that it don't fall when I move it. You do need, again, the large one. And so I'm going to put it in here. And I'm going to open up my folder. You want to always make sure that the seam or the opening, I think my brain's not working as well today, is on the end that's going through the machine. And I'm going to line it up so that the bottom of my cardstock lines up right along the edge of where that embossing ends. And then I'm going to pull in my plate. I need the number 1, which is the base. Get my card out of the way. The base. And then I'm going to line up my folder so again that seam goes this way. And then you'll need the plate number 4, which is the dark gray plate. And that's when you're using these 3D embossing folders. It's a very deep impression that you're going to end up with. So I'm going to scroll it through. And it creaks and it cracks and it does all its things. And then I've done the rest of those things already, so let's get this out of the way. Okay, so you'll see what I'm left with here. So then I've got this really neat section, and it left this opening on the top. I have to pardon the dog here, Linus. So then I've got a piece of 2 inch by 5 1/4 of that Country Woods Designer Series paper. And I'm going to pull out my multi-purpose liquid glue, and I'm going to attach that paper at the top half. I don't need a lot, I just need it to go around the perimeter. So we'll line it along the top here. And pull it up like so. And I thought this would make a really neat masculine, not that it has to be masculine, but a masculine gift bag. And then I'm going to line up this strip. Again, this one is 1/2 inch by 5 1/4, and I'm going to go ahead and put some liquid glue, multi-purpose liquid glue. My words are not coming to me well today. Do you ever have that problem? Happens more than I'd like to admit. So I'll line this into here, and it's going to sit into this section where that gap is between where I embossed and where that paper is at. And that makes it just a nice tailored look on the front of my bag. So super, super simple. Then to decorate anything else that I'm going to do, I'm going to put some leaves up on this top corner, and I had already cut them. Let me pull them out here. I'd already cut them out with my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and before I had done that, I had adhered some of our adhesive sheet to the back of it. When you're doing detail die cuts, the adhesive sheets, make the application onto your project so much easier. So I'm going to just go ahead and pull that off the back. You could use a fine tip glue pen, and that would work as well. So I thought that added just enough of something up here at the top. And so then what I find is helpful with that adhesive sheet is then to use your bone folder, use this curved flat edge and just press against it. It'll kind of help that adhesive to just attach fully to your cardstock. So in this case, it's to our designer series paper, and then I'm going to tie a piece of twine. This twine comes from the Natural Tones linen thread. It coordinates with, I can't tell you the name of the cards or the designer series papers, but it's got the birds on it from last fall's catalog, and it is still around. So it has the Night of Navy thread, some garden green thread, and then I believe that this is Cajun Craze. And so then I'm going to go ahead and just tie a simple bow, nothing fancy, and that's if I can get my fingers to work. And if not, we have tons of different ways to tie bows. Use a fork, you can wrap it around dowels. I've seen all kinds of things. So you just need a simple bow. And then I'm going to pull out a piece of, not a piece, but one of my mini glue dots. So I'm going to open up my glue dots, attach my ribbon / thread, twine, whatever you want to call it. It's officially thread. And I'm going to pull it off and stick it on that top portion up here, so that it looks like I've tied it to the top of those leaves. And then I can trim those ends of my thread just a little shorter. That's about a 10-inch length of thread. So at this point, I've got a couple more pieces I'm going to put on, but I want to stick it to the front of my bag first. And so I'm going to twist this around, and I'm going to apply my multi-purpose liquid glue in the same manner. I'm going to come around about 1/4 inch, laying a bead of glue all around the perimeter. And if you have a heavy enough hand, you're going to have enough, it'll spread out. If you're too close to that edge, it'll spread beyond where you want it. And then I find because it's a big enough surface, I do want to have some more glue going in that opening. Then I'm going to tip it around, and we're going to attach it to the bottom first, is kind of where I had figured this out. And I'm putting it on the flat edge. The other side has the bag, the bottom of the bag that shows. And so you're just going to attach it to the front here, press, get a nice adhesion to that, and adjust as you need to go. Press. Again, you want to make sure everything is stuck on there really nice, so that when you open your gift bag up, kind of open it, you can see that it's attached to the front of this. And so you may want to open it and put your hand in there just to make sure that everything is attaching how you want it to. The last thing you'd want is to give your gift bag to someone and that part fall off. So, like so, I'm going to go ahead and close it again just for purposes I'm doing. Then I'm attaching some basic gray and smoky slate pearls. You could choose either one of them. I'm going to use some of the smoky slate. They're just a little lighter. And I'm going to pull out my Take Your Pick tool and put 3 of these large ones. And I'm going to start with one in the center and then put one on each side of that. Okay. And sometimes I find if I have, it's a directional thing for me. I'm going to line up my 3, spacing them out. On the front, so that I've got 3 coming along that side, just enough of a detail for those. So that's the bag. The bag is super fast, goes together really quick. The card is one, it's not my own idea, so I have to say that up front. The card is an idea I saw online with different colors, but the same materials. And if that is from you, I would love to link that idea to you so that I'm not choosing it on my own. What I did was make sure to use Night of Navy because I liked the crispness of it. So I'm going to open up my Night of Navy pad and we're going to do some simple stamping. And I've got the big leaf that's more open. And I find with these larger stamps, I'm going to take my stamp pad to my stamp versus in the reverse. When I have a smaller stamp, I find the reverse is easiest. But I'm gonna ink up, make sure I have enough ink on the bottom of my photopolymer stamp. And then I'm going to come in from the top down, and I may have to see what I've got with a piece of scrap. So here's a nice scrap that we're going to just choose, just because I know it's going to come over. I'm going to come in from the top down and get as much of this into here as I can. Some ink, press nice and firm. I'm going to hold on to let it release. Okay, so then I've got, almost didn't. Let's see if we can get this back on here. Sometimes with photopolymer, you're able to get things lined up just right. And so we're going to hope. Yep, there we go. So I've got this portion done. That's going to come on the front as a layer. And then I've got my greeting that I want to put on this basic beige die cut. Are you a fan of basic beige? I find myself using it more and more all of the time. So I'm going to use this greeting that says you are amazing in every single way, because I'm thinking you could easily make this a birthday card. So again, I'm going to put that there. We'll clean these stamps after a bit. And then I want to have something on the inside. So I'm going to use another leaf from this greeting, or from this bundle. Ink up. Good old Night of Navy. I think this could be a really pretty set to use with some of our grays as well. So, if I do that, I'm going to end up another section that I don't want on my table. So I'm going to just come up here on this corner. Come straight down. And then, see how lovely that works when you don't get a knife. I'm too worried about touching stuff. There we go. Sometimes works out. So I'm not putting a greeting on the inside so that I can use it as I want later, but that allows me to have that greeting. And so I'm going to go ahead and then just assemble. It's, again, pretty fast. So I'm going to grab my Stampin' Seal. You could continue using your multi-purpose liquid glue. And make sure I put this the right direction, though no one's going to know if you do it different. And I've had in-person classes, I've told people multiple times, no one knows what yours, that yours was not looking like the teacher's because no one else sees the teacher's. So it's always okay to have your own way. So I'm then going to go ahead and fold my card base in half. So again, this was a 5.5 by 8.5 piece of cardstock. My measurements quickly for the card. So the Night of Navy piece is 3 1/4 inches by 5.5, and the Country Woods was cut at 3 inches by 5.5. So then again, I'm going to take out my Stampin' Seal, whatever adhesive that you're using. You're going to line it up, and you're just going to center it on the front of this card base. You could choose to go higher, you could choose to go lower. Just love the simplicity of this card. So then I'm going to take my interior piece and stick it on the inside. That was a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece, just so I have a nice even reveal around it. And then I'm going to grab a couple Stampin' Dimensionals to stick on the ends of my banner. Grab those here quick. Open this up. And layer this on the front. So it's going to kind of come in a little ways. I kind of liked that. And what a fun way. And the Country Woods is going to stick around a little while, which is great news. To kind of set up the rest of your card, you want to use just a few more of those pearls. So I'm going to grab one of the larger pearls, and I'm going to stick it down here. Then I'm going to grab 2 of the smaller ones from the top. I want to come one up this way. I like 3s, and if you watch my videos, you know that. So then I'm going to come up this way and grab a 3rd one. And then to set off, I didn't do this before, but I think we should. I'm going to decorate my envelope. So I'm going to grab out that Night of Navy ink again. And while I still have the stamp out, I'm going to grab this one. Ink up as well as I can get it. And then I'm going to come in just on the edge, and we're not going to try to avoid because I'm afraid I won't get as much as in there as I need to. So just like so. Isn't that fun? So when you do all of that, you end up with a gift set that's so easy. Have set aside. You could make a ton of them. Just a whole lot of fun. So let me flip the camera back. Thanks again for joining me. Again, if you place your order, details are in my video description and on this live event noted, and I'll put it again in the description there. But thanks again for joining me. I'll be back next Thursday at 2 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, and I look forward to seeing you as I share with you the second project of A Card in a Bag. Have a great week.